Good morning, everyone. Fast Eddie goes to the Philippines. Been a few months since I did a video. I've been keeping pretty busy, didn't have time for this, but I am back as we near our departure date. August 5 is our flight out of the U.S. to the Philippines, and there'll be no turning back. We have our house is on the market. We've had a couple offers that didn't pan out, but so now we're moving forward with one, and we're going to rent back for a couple days, and then we're going to head out of here. But visas. When you go to the Philippines, you got to. Most countries you come from, you don't need a visa. As long as you got a valid passport, you're good to go for the first 30 days. Um, and then you can continue to renew that tourist visa up to, I heard, 3 years. And then you got to leave the country for at least one day, and then you can come back. It's kind of a hassle to continue to renew it every 60 days because you got to go to an immigration office and you pay a fee and yada yada. And so what I did was I applied for a 13A visa, an immigrant visa that's available to people who are married to Filipino citizens. And I am married to a Filipino citizen. So I did the 13A. You can do the 13A in the country, in the Philippines. It's a little bit different process. First year, they give you a probationary 13A, and then you come back and reapply again after a year, and then they give you a permanent one. If you do it here in the States, they give you a permanent one from the get-go if you're approved. Pretty straightforward process. You got to do a physical, have some blood work done, have an X-ray done, make sure you don't have any TB or any. And actually, the blood work they're checking for syphilis of all things. That's the only thing they check for. They check income. You have to do a background check. You do a live scan, and then you uh, uh, have to have that all apostolized by the Secretary of State. You got to have your official birth certificate. For me, that was the hardest part, was getting a birth certificate. I needed a long version of the birth certificate, and having been born in New York, Brooklyn, New York, which is part of New York City, they have their own health department, unlike the state of New York. That took like three different rounds to actually get it. I had to go to the public health department. I had to have that apostolized. Then I had to get it, the city and county of New York, and then the Secretary of State of New York all had to apostolize the birth certificate, I think is what the process worked out to be. But nonetheless, it was taken care of. We got that issued. It took a couple months. It was kind of one of the first things I did after I retired, and it finally was approved. It cost about $500, I think. We drove down and turned it all in at the consulate in San Francisco, made an appointment, and was really pretty much straightforward. The only thing the instructions are not that great on any of the websites. I found probably the most clarifying instructions on the consulate website of Philippines, for the consulate in New York. They seem to have a little bit, at least a bullet pointed item of everything you needed. Was able to put that together. The only thing I didn't do was I had to make a photocopy of everything that I turned into them. And this is kind of typical in the Philippines. You turn everything into them, you give them all your money, you're paying cash for all this stuff. They don't give you any receipt. It's just kind of like, okay, yeah, we got it. And you just kind of leave it there with them. And you walk away and hope that everything works out, which it did in this case. Same thing was when I was in the Philippines visiting Lolita before we were married. And if you stayed more than, originally it was 21 days, now it's 30 days for the tourist visa. You basically walk into the immigration office or the quasi-immigration office, hand them your passport, and they say, all right, come back in 2 or 3 days, and they'll give you your extended stamp in your passport. No receipt of anything, it just kind of happens. So it's kind of you got to have some trust in the process and faith, and it's worked for me every time. What'll happen is if you don't extend your visa and you go to get out of the airport, let's say you're staying for 35 days instead of 30, and you don't extend your tourist visa, they can detain you right then and there, and then make you pay a penalty and a fee, and they can also blacklist you, where they don't allow you to come back into the country. Some people, I've seen videos where people who have overstayed and extended themselves, and you can get picked up and deported. But first they put you in jail, and from what I've seen of the jails in the Philippines, I don't think I want to be in one of those. So it's best to play by the rules. And you know, the money wise, it's not that much. I mean, now I have a 13A visa. I can come and go from the country anytime I want. The other option we had was a Balak Bayan visa because I'm married to Lolita. When we arrive if we arrive in the country together and we have a proof of our marriage, I could get a 1 year what they call a Balak Bayan visa. But this is permanent. I can come and go because you know, part of our plan is to travel. You know, I want to go to Europe. I want to go to other Southeast Asia countries. I want to be able to just pick up and go and not have to worry about, you know, the airports and visas and that kind of thing, and getting back in and out of the country, the Philippines. So I'm glad we got that taken care of. Other than that, if you're going to come visit us in the Philippines, like I said, 30 days, you can stay there on a tourist visa. If you want to stay longer than that, you can extend it up to 60 days at a time after the initial 30 days. There's Panglao. I've heard that they moved the Bureau of Immigration into Panglao instead of, you don't have to go into the capital city anymore. You can do it right there in Panglao, I've heard, kind of right down by the church building. The town square, if you will, right close by, you know, about 3 minutes from the house. So don't worry about that. If you're going to come visit us, we'll make sure you don't get deported or thrown in jail, which is kind of a first when you're hanging out with Fast Eddie. You see, you're living by the rules now. All right, everybody, just a quick video to get back into it. I'm going to have some more videos coming up. I've dealt with importing a dog, and I have some other words of wisdom for people. All right, hope you enjoy it. Thanks.